Welcome to another segment of Gamers Station. Today I've got a fantastic game for you. It's LittleBigPlanet 3, and it is probably the most charming game I've ever played. It is absolutely fantastic. So what is LittleBigPlanet? Well, I'm going to talk about this from an individual perspective. Like you can see, it says 3. I'm not going to talk about 1 and 2 because not everyone's played 1 and 2. So, jumping into the game, you're greeted with some of the best voice acting I've ever heard by Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie being House, in case you didn't know. And it's just this, you're instantly sucked into the world, and you play a sack person. You're a person made out of a sack, and you explore the world of Bunkum. And everything is about creativity, imagination, creating your own worlds, playing through this magnificent storyline, and it is really, really good. So let's jump into the game and see what's up.
While everyone else was making the same big trailer, the LittleBigPlanet community decided to craft something uniquely small. Small is stronger than it looks. Small is making new friends. Small isn't afraid to daydream. Turns out, small is actually really big. LittleBigPlanet 3. Stand small.
So, jumping into the game, what can you expect? Well, you start out with one of the best things about LittleBigPlanet 3 is how they introduce everything to you. It's a very natural sort of learning process. They basically, when you get to a screen, Stephen Fry starts narrating and he starts explaining things in some of the most charming words possible. And you're instantly sort of engrossed in his voice acting because it's so good and it's so easy to learn like that. You just sort of get to a menu, he explains what's going on, you get to another place, he explains what's going on, you open up another sort of map and he explains what maps are, and it's this very sort of natural learning process. And it's probably because the game is sort of keeping the children in mind, where it is sort of supposed to be for children and sort of for creativity and stuff like that. But playing it as an adult, it's not condescending whatsoever. It is still very much a fun game, a playful game, but it's not a childish game. And the storyline behind everything is very deep. You get to know these very well-made, well-crafted, well-voice-acted characters. A famous voice actress in this as well is Tara Strong. She voices a whole bunch of characters on Cartoon Network. And you get to know these characters and you go through the world through the perils of what's actually going on. There's a bit of a crisis with imagination being stolen. And you sort of go from world to world, solving puzzles and all really cool stuff. Now, the gameplay itself, the best thing about it is it's not repetitive at all. I mean, there's a few things. It uses common game mechanics and tropes like that, but it doesn't feel repetitive. Going from world to world, going from mission to mission, exploring the dozens and dozens of things to do, each mini game sort of feels different. It feels unique, it feels engaging, and it feels like you're actually exploring new worlds with new aesthetics, new designs, and new game mechanics. So for example, there's one part where there's a racing game, and they only do the racing game once. Later on, they sort of bring it back where you sort of have to construct a vehicle, but it's no longer a racing game, it's a jump off the ramp and see how far you can go game. So they sort of reuse the mechanics to different ends. So the game itself looks, feels, plays fantastic. Now, the big problem with the game, we have to talk about this issue. When the game released, it was really, really buggy. And I don't mean like, oh, it glitches a bit. It had a lot of problems. So for example, there's frame rate issues, there's sort of stuttering in the video and audio. There's also some really serious ones from losing your progress. I started up the game once and all my progress was gone. I had to restart the game. And even loading screens, which there are a lot of. There's a lot of loading screens. There's even loading screens between, like from gameplay to cinematic to gameplay, there's 2 loading screens there, which can sort of take you out of the world and take you out of the immersion. And twice, those loading screens froze. I had to hard reset my PlayStation to actually get out of it. So there's a lot of bugginess and glitchiness, which the developers are working on. Back about a month ago, they did release a patch which fixed a lot of problems, but it didn't fix all of them. So this is something you have to keep an eye out on. In the past, in console games, when a game shipped, that's it. That's all they had. But nowadays, when a game ships, there's probably going to be a couple bugs in there which they're going to patch in later. So maybe it's not an instant thing that you should get into right away, but you should keep an eye on the internet, have a look around on forums, see what problems people are having, and if you're willing to get into it, then you should go for it knowing what you're getting into. But the game itself, everything about it, is probably one of the best, most charming games I've played to date.
Small is imaginative. Small is heroic. Small is extraordinary. Get ready for an adventure so big, it had to be little.
So, should you get LittleBigPlanet 3? Well, there's a few things that you should be looking for. It depends on the kind of gamer you are. So first of all, there's the adventure story mode, which is really, really good, really nice. It's got a nice length. It'll take you probably 4, 5, 6 hours to get through everything. Maybe longer if you're taking your time, because there's a lot of collectibles to collect, a lot of stickers to collect, and these stickers you use as decorations in the game, and all sorts of really cool stuff. So if you're into the story mode, I would say it's definitely worth it just for the story mode. But if you're not so much into the story mode and you're looking for something that's going to last a long time, then you're going to want to look into the user-generated content. This is another game where you could sort of build your own worlds, build your own adventures, build your own puzzles, and put it up on the internet and have people download and play them. And that's really, really cool. But you do have to consider, as if you want to get into this game, the bugs and all of that, which I mentioned before. So there's a lot of things to consider, and only you can make the decision here. But I want you to make sure you know what exactly you're getting into. But overall, the game is fantastically made. The aesthetic is beautiful, it's fantastic, it's fun, it's not childish, and it's not condescending, and it just sort of brings out the inner child in you. And I have a feeling some older gamers might want to get into it just to have that light-hearted feeling once again. And so just overall, I really, really love it.
Alas, we're at the end of another episode of Gadget Nation with me, Adam Carruthers, but fret not, because we'll be back same time, same place next week for the, well, I guess it'll be the season finale, in which case after that, we'll take a short break. Not very long, because we always got to make sure we deliver to you the latest in the world of technology. I simply cannot wait. Big thanks here to Eat with Mooney for hosting us. You know, I want to come back here. Maybe might even be back here same time, same place next week. Until then, bye-bye.